My sister's husband started calling me at midnight, saying he wished he'd married me instead. I thought it was just emotional cheating until I found out I was the target of a covert surveillance op. I, 32 years old female, never expected to be this close with my sister's husband. Let me just start there. My sister, Amanda, 34-year-old female, and I have always had a complicated relationship. Not in the sense that we hate each other or anything. It's more like we just don't really know each other. We were raised in the same house, same parents, same everything, but we took totally different paths. She went the sorority girl, corporate career, SUV and suburb route. I did the freelance graphic design thing, moved to Portland, got a cat, and learned to make my own sourdough before it was trendy. We were never super close, but we called occasionally. Birthdays, holidays, the occasional, "Mom said you're dating someone new?" check in. When Amanda got married to Jake, I thought he was fine. Like, dude from LinkedIn, fine. He worked in finance, wore button down shirts to brunch, and talked about how efficient the new air fryer was. He was perfectly polite, maybe a little too polished. The kind of guy who called you miss and laughed with his mouth closed. So you get the idea. We were from two different worlds, and I didn't think I'd have much to do with her husband. That changed about 6 months ago. It started small. Jake added me on Instagram, which didn't seem like a big deal at the time. We'd only interacted a handful of times at family events, and he'd always seemed a little quiet around me. But then he started replying to my stories. Just casual stuff at first. Jake: "That coffee shop looks awesome. Where is it?" Jake: "You design logos? I've been looking for someone for a side project." Jake: "Haha, your cat looks like she owns the place." Normal, boring stuff. But the frequency picked up. Then it turned into actual DMS, longer ones. He started asking more personal questions. Things like, "Jake, do you ever wish you lived closer to family again?" Jake: "I feel like Amanda and I are growing apart lately. Do you ever feel like relationships just hit a wall?" I told myself it was harmless. People vent. Maybe he just didn't have many people to talk to. But then came the first phone call. It was 11:42 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was half asleep when my phone buzzed, and I answered without looking, thinking it might be an emergency. "Hey," Jake's voice said, low and weirdly calm. "Sorry, I know it's late. I just didn't know who else to call." He was drunk. Not wasted, but the kind of drunk where emotions start leaking out. He talked for 15 minutes about how Amanda didn't really see him anymore, how they hadn't slept in the same bed for almost 3 weeks, how he felt like he was disappearing inside his own house. I didn't know what to say. I told him I was tired and maybe he should talk to Amanda instead of me. He apologized and hung up. But then it happened again. The next week, then the week after that. Always late at night, always after Amanda had gone to sleep. And yeah, always a little too personal. I didn't tell my sister. I probably should have. But there was something about the way Jake talked to me, like he thought I understood him in a way Amanda didn't. And I'll admit it, a small part of me liked that. Not in a romantic way, but in that messed up human way where you feel flattered someone chooses you as their secret, like you're important. It never got explicitly flirty. But there were comments that made me uncomfortable. Like one night he said, "I don't think Amanda realizes how cool her sister is. You've got this whole thing going on. You're creative, funny, a little mysterious. You remind me of the people I should have ended up with." I laughed it off, told him he was drunk again. He laughed too, but there was this silence after, not awkward, just long. Like we were both waiting for the other to break it. I didn't sleep well that night. Then, 2 months ago, I flew out for Amanda's birthday. She and Jake live in Colorado now, in this cookie-cutter house with an absurd amount of throw pillows. I hadn't seen them in person in over a year. Everything seemed fine at first. Amanda was excited to show me their backyard renovation. Jake was polite, a little stiff, but normal. But then I noticed little things. The way he looked at me when Amanda wasn't watching. The way his hand brushed mine a little too long when we both reached for the salad bowl. One night, Amanda went to bed early with a headache, and Jake and I were left finishing wine on the back patio. It was freezing out, and I was wrapped in this ugly fleece blanket with snowflakes on it. But Jake was acting like it was the middle of summer. Totally relaxed. And then, out of nowhere, he said, "If I told you I married the wrong sister, would that be completely insane?" I froze. My heart was thudding in my chest. I said nothing, just stared at him. He smiled, like he was waiting for me to laugh. When I didn't, he stood up, mumbled something about needing more wine, and went inside. The next day, he acted like nothing happened. I left early. But here's where things get really weird. A week after I got back home, Amanda called me. Casual at first. How's Portland? But then her tone shifted. She asked, did anything seem off while you were here? I panicked. I thought she knew. I was ready to deny everything. But then she said, Jake's been different lately. Secretive. On his phone all the time. He goes out for these weird drives in the evening and doesn't explain where he's going. And yesterday I found something in his glove compartment. She didn't say what. I wanted to confess everything, but something told me not to. Instead, I asked, what did you find? There was a pause. Then Amanda said, actually, never mind. It's probably nothing. I'll figure it out. But the thing is, I still don't know what she found. And ever since then, Jake hasn't called me once. Not a single late-night text. Not a like, not a DM radio silence, which would be fine if it weren't for the fact that 3 days ago, I got a random, unmarked envelope in the mail. No return address, just my name. Inside, one photo, a printed photo of me, sitting at the airport, taken through glass, taken without my knowledge. I stared at that photo for a full minute before I even moved. It wasn't anything dramatic. Just me, sitting at gate C9 at the Denver airport, head down, scrolling on my phone, headphones in. But that was the part that made it worse. How normal it was. No dramatic angle, no creepy message scribbled on the back. Just a plain 4x6 glossy print, taken by someone who was close enough to see me. I checked the envelope again. Nothing. No postmark, no tracking, not even a smudge of ink. Just my name, printed in all caps like a label maker had spit it out. I told myself it had to be some mistake. Maybe a friend messing with me, maybe a random mix-up. But I couldn't shake this heavy feeling in my gut. Like my body knew something my brain didn't want to accept. I didn't sleep that night. My cat Marbles kept pacing along the windowsill, tail twitching. She only does that when she hears things I don't, and that only made everything worse. The next morning, I did something I never do. I called Amanda. I tried to sound casual. I asked how things were going, mentioned that I'd been meaning to check in. She was quiet. Finally, she said, can I ask you something? My heart did that little stutter thing again. Yeah, I said, already bracing myself. Did Jake ever say anything weird to you? Like personal stuff about our marriage? I hesitated. Why do you ask? Amanda let out this long sigh, like she was trying to untangle her thoughts as she spoke. Because he's been acting really strange lately, like more than just distant. I caught him listening to some voice memos on his phone the other day, and when I asked what they were, he freaked out. He said it was just work, but then he deleted them in front of me, and I swear he's been hiding things in the garage. The garage? I asked. She hesitated. It's probably nothing. I don't know. I'm being paranoid. I wanted to tell her everything. I really did. But how do you say your husband's been calling me at midnight and confessing emotional infidelity without sounding like you're the villain? Instead, I said, Amanda, if you think something's going on, trust your gut. Seriously. She didn't reply right away. Then she whispered, I found a second phone. That stopped me cold. Like a burner phone? I asked. Number like another iPhone, same model as the one he uses. It was in a duffel bag in the attic. It wasn't even hidden that well, like he wanted me to find it, but not right away. What was on it? I don't know. It's locked. I'm thinking about taking it to one of those phone repair places and asking them to unlock it. I didn't know what to say. I was trying to stay calm, but my brain was screaming, what the hell is going on? Then Amanda said something that made my skin crawl. I think he's spying on someone. I just don't know if it's me or someone else. My mouth went dry. That night I couldn't sleep again. I kept replaying every conversation I'd had with Jake in my head. Every weird comment, every late night call, every time he said Amanda didn't see him or that I was more real than she was. I didn't want to believe it, but some part of me started to wonder if I'd been part of something bigger. Not just venting, not just emotional cheating. Maybe I was being used. Then, 2 days later, it escalated. I got a second envelope. This time, it was smaller, just a standard letter envelope tucked under my doormat when I came back from walking marbles. Inside, a flash drive. No label, no instructions. I almost didn't plug it in, but curiosity won. The flash drive had one folder. It was titled, Listen. Inside, 6 audio files, no names, just timestamps. I clicked the first one. It was my voice. Me, on the phone, talking to my best friend about the trip to Colorado. I could hear myself describing Amanda's new kitchen, the wine on the patio, how Jake gave me weird vibes. I don't even remember that conversation being recorded. It must have been weeks ago. I clicked the second file. This time, it was inside my apartment. You can hear me humming in the background, marbles meowing, the clink of a spoon in a coffee mug. The third one was me. In the shower, I slammed the laptop shut. My whole body went cold. I couldn't breathe. Someone had been listening to me, in my own home. I tore the place apart. Under the couch, inside the smoke detector, behind books. I found nothing. But I knew, without a doubt, someone had planted something, and I had one name that kept popping into my head. Jake. But why? What the hell was his endgame? I called Amanda again. No answer. I sent a text. Call me. Something serious came up. She didn't reply. That night, I barely slept again. I kept the lights on. Marbles refused to leave the windowsill. Around 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Stop digging. That's it. 2 words. I stared at the screen for so long it dimmed and went dark. I didn't respond. I didn't call anyone. I just sat there, heart pounding in my ears. I knew 2 things. First, this wasn't just about Jake being a creep. Second, someone had eyes on me, right now. After that text, stop digging. I didn't leave my apartment for 2 days. I worked from home, kept my curtains drawn, and jumped every time the floor creaked. My life felt like a movie where the music never stops building. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what. I tried calling Amanda again. No answer. I even called my mom to ask if she'd heard from her. She said Amanda had been quiet lately, but nothing too weird. Jake had apparently taken a trip to visit a friend in Seattle, which sounded like a lie, but I had no way to prove it. I debated going to the police, but what was I supposed to say? Hi, someone mailed me a photo of myself and some creepy audio. Also, my sister's husband might be spying on me. Or maybe not. Oh, and my cat's been acting weird. I had no proof of anything illegal, just feelings, paranoia, fear. And then I got a call from Amanda. She was whispering. I could barely hear her. I only have a minute, she said. I'm at the library. I think he's tracking my phone. Where the hell have you been? I whispered back. I found the password, she said. To the second phone, it was my name, backwards, all lowercase. And there's something you need to see, she said. But I can't send it. You have to come here, tonight. To Colorado? No, she said. Not anymore. Then she gave me an address in Utah. I didn't ask questions. I booked the next flight. The address she gave me was to a motel just outside Salt Lake City, one of those dusty roadside ones with a flickering neon sign and vending machines that haven't worked since the 90s. Room 204, I knocked twice. Amanda opened the door, and I barely recognized her. No makeup, hair tied back, eyes wild and tired. Inside, she had the second phone plugged into a charger. No laptop, just the phone, a spiral notebook, and 3 bottles of gas station coffee. Sit, she said, and don't freak out. She opened the phone and tapped into the photos, then the videos. The first one she showed me was a screen recording, security cam footage of me from my apartment building, the hallway, the stairwell, even the lobby, all dated from over the past 3 months. Where did this come from? I whispered. Jake didn't take these, she said, or at least not directly. They were sent to him. By who? She looked at me, her voice barely above a whisper. You're not being stalked, Jess. You're being watched. I was shaking now. What does that even mean? Then she showed me a folder. It was labeled JW Assessment. Inside were documents, PDF scans of pages, reports, notes, voice-to-text transcripts, my full name, my address, my schedule, notes on my online activity, my therapy sessions, which I'd only done virtually, a list of people I called regularly, my IP history, even screenshots of private design files I'd never shared with anyone. And then I saw the logo at the top of the PDFS Kressler Consulting Group. I stared at it. I didn't recognize the name. Amanda did. "That's not Jake's company," she said. "It's mine." I blinked. "What?" Amanda rubbed her eyes. "I've never told you exactly what I do. I work for a private firm that contracts with corporations and, sometimes, the government. Our team does behavioral profiling, mostly for security purposes, internal risk analysis, executive vetting, stuff like that." I couldn't breathe. "You're profiling me?" Amanda shook her head. "I wasn't, but someone was. You were flagged in an old system of ours over a year ago. Something about your ex, the one who used to work at that aerospace startup." "Eli?" I said. "That was like 4 years ago." She nodded. "Yeah, but when that company got bought out, there was a sweep of old digital connections. You popped up. So someone reopened a dormant case file on you." I was reeling. "So Jake's not the stalker?" Amanda's face twisted. "He is, but not how you think." She opened another file, a recording. This time, Jake's voice, but professional. Cold. "She doesn't suspect anything. Her sister is the perfect proxy. We'll push the emotional angle further and use the visits as a cover for in-person surveillance. She's attached enough to feel special, but distant enough not to interfere." It kept going. I couldn't listen. "He was part of the consulting team," Amanda said quietly. "They used our marriage as a cover." My stomach dropped. "He married you to get to me?" Amanda nodded. "I only found out when I saw the name Kressler come up on the second phone. I pulled every file I could. The trail was deep. They were watching you for something related to Eli's connections, but then it shifted. It became more personal. Less about security, more about manipulation." Interest, I stood up. "So all those calls, all those comments, him saying I was the wrong sister, that was all part of the job?" Amanda looked up at me. Her eyes were glassy. "I don't think so." "What?" "I think it started as a job, but then I think he got too into it. He blurred the lines, he stopped reporting to his team. He started acting on his own. That's when the file was closed." Closed? She opened one last file, a single page. "Subject determined to be non-threat. Surveillance terminated." "Dated 2 weeks ago," she said. "That's why the envelope stopped. That's why Jake went quiet." I sat down numb. "So, what now?" Amanda looked at me, exhausted. "We disappear for a bit, let things cool down, change numbers, maybe move." "And Jake?" She hesitated. Then she showed me her phone, a news alert. "Local man found dead after solo hiking accident in Washington state." It was Jake. I stared at the headline. I felt nothing. No fear, no sadness. Just this weird, eerie stillness. But Amanda? She was already closing the phone, grabbing her bag. "I don't think it was an accident," she whispered. And deep down, I agreed.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit notifications, and if you like this video, press like button. See you in next Deep Reddit videos.